sinasabi ko lang para magtagumpay tayo, mas maganda kung joint voting na lang yung advocate natin. Mas mahirap kasi yung separate voting. Tingnan mo if we start as a constituent assembly, I think I read a particular case here, the case of Tolentino versus Comelec. If Congress transforms itself into a constituent assembly, all the members become component elements of a constituent assembly. In other words, forget about being senators, forget about being congressmen. You are all equally considered as component elements of a constituent assembly. We don't talk of a bicameral assembly then. It is a constituent assembly. Kaya ang gagawin na nga, magsasama dapat yun eh. Kaya ang voting, walang sinasabi, voting separately. Kung joint voting yon, reports naman ang kailangan talaga. Very stringent. Nakapag-comply na tayo doon sa stringent requirements in revising a constitution. But in the manner of voting, palagay ko, bonus na natin yon kung joint voting. Kasi mas madali nating makuha yung reports kaysa sa Senado. What is 3/4 in the Senate, Mr. Chair? 18 senators. They will only work for at least 7 senators. Para itong gagawin natin, ma-override nila. What if hindi sila nakakuha ng 3/4? O di, halimbawa, inabot tayo ng isang buwan dito, Mr. Chair. Napag-debate natin mabuti. Pagkatapos, pagdating doon, 1/4 lang sila. Yung tanong ko, what happens?
As I said, Deputy Speaker, the circumstance obtaining before then is different from what we have now. We have a bicameral Congress, and an ordinary legislation is being voted upon separately. I think it would be absorbed if a proposed amendment to the Constitution would be treated less stringently.
We will vote separately. Walang nakalagay doon. Maski bali-baligtarin mo yung Article 12, Section 1, Constitution. Ikaw na rin ang nagsabi kanina na pati nga yung pagbuo ng Constituent Assembly, wala ngang nakalagay dyan eh. Diba? Much less, voting separately, hindi sinasabi dyan. Kung akong tatanungin mo, mas gusto ko joint. Mas madali yun eh. Bakit ka mo? Eh kung halimbawa, nagawa na natin ang natin gawin dito. Tapos na tayo. Okay na tayong lahat. Bumoto tayo. Nakuha natin ang 3/4. Pagdating sa kabila, ang nakuha nila ang 1/4. Kasi wala rin tayong nagawa. Kaya ang sinasabi ko kanina, maybe you should have sounded off your counterpart in the Senate. Kung talagang makukuha nila yung 3/4, kahit na voting separately, papayag ako. Pero sabihin nila sa atin, meron talaga silang 3/4. Kasi kung halimbawa, sabi, boss, kasi anong gawin ko dito, 1/4 lang kami. Eh, ba't pa tayo nagtatangka ng pagbabago dito? Eh, wala rin pala silang madideliver doon. Pero kung joint voting, sabi nga ni Congressman Fortune, 24 lang sila, 304 yata tayo. Kunin natin ang 75% ng total na yon, sigurado tayo. So anyway, the Constitution does not categorically say na yung mga tayo, magboboto tayo ng separately. Ba't natin sinasabing separately? Ba't hindi natin tanggapin na joint voting ito?
Well, Deputy Speaker, I fully respect your opinion, but that is a position that is not being shared by this representation, the chairman of this committee, including that of the Speaker, which is the author of the resolution of both houses of Congress, number 2. In fact, we consider the nature of our present Congress today, which is a bicameral Congress. So if we proceed proposing amendment to the Constitution using our constituent power, and treat this as in the process an ordinary bill, except that a more stringent vote is needed, the 3/4 vote of all members of Congress voting separately. So the comparison is if we treat an ordinary legislation as voting separately in both houses of Congress, how can we have a less stringent requirement on proposing amendment to the Constitution? And that was the very nature of a bicameral Congress right now. Noon kasi nagkaroon tayong hindi bicameral kundi unicameral Congress, and that's why the voting then was joint. But since we have a bicameral Congress, we cannot make less of a stringent voting in voting jointly than what we have now in proposing amendment to the Constitution. But I fully respect your opinion, Deputy Speaker, may tatay. So yan ang aking position, but I respect your position.
Chairman, parliamentary inquiry, is the view that this will be taken separately between the two houses, the position of the chair or the position of the committee? Because, Chairman, it is a very critical question that has to be decided, probably even by the Supreme Court. We are not in a position to say that the framers of the Constitution wanted this to be taken separately and not jointly. Otherwise, Mr. Chairman, let me point out a possibility exists. If the people of the Philippines, through the representatives, said, let us abolish the Senate of the Philippines and have a unicameral form of government, does that not make us have to answer the question whether this becomes an impossible undertaking to have a unicameral form of government later on? Because definitely, the Senate will never allow a creation of a unicameral legislature because it will abolish them. The question is, do the framers of the Constitution envision that we will forever be unicameral, or that we will forever be bicameral? Are we going to presidential parliamentary all the time? Does this not close the door to the fact that we want to change the form of government when the time comes? Because if it is the impossible condition, then why call it a constituent assembly? Then it is not a constituent assembly. It becomes a group of people in the Senate deciding for us and not this House.
Thank you, Senior Deputy
Yes, so
Majority.
the question is, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
are we already taking the position that we are taking, that the vote will be taken jointly or separately? Is this the position of the committee or only of the chair or only of some of the people present here?
Well, what we are taking up right now is resolution of both houses of Congress, which propose specific amendments to the Constitution, specifically Article 12, 14, and 16. And in the resolved matter of the said resolution, the wordings is explicit that the voting would be 3/4 of all its members voting separately. And that was the phrase that was used by the Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, when he has crafted resolution of both houses of Congress number 2. And I share the same position with the Speaker and some of the members present in this committee. But as to whether this will be the position of the committee, premature pa po natin pag-usapan. By the time we will consider to adopt this proposal, this resolution, then we will know what will be the position of the committee so that we will toss this one to the plenary for further discussion and debate.
So, Mr. Chairman, would the chair agree with this representation that this can be a justiciable controversy later on, and that whatever we adopt may not be the position of the Supreme Court based on what the framers of the Constitution intended.
Well, a justiciable controversy arises when there's an actual controversy. If the position of the House and the Senate are the same, I think there will be no justiciable controversy. But that is always a political question that can be decided upon. Gusto mo dumagdag, para tapusin na natin ito. Okay, magandang discussion to, Deputy Majo, but we have to finish this. And
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Deputy Majority Leader, I think we have established jurisprudence. We'll just send a list later on that this is a political question for Congress itself to decide whether we vote separately or jointly, but it is clear from the very start that we will vote separately from the Senate to not take away or dilute the power of the Senate in the amendment process of the Constitution. So malinaw po yan para sa amin na